Yeah, so my kids, we're having to use flashlights to come down the stairs. One of my kids fell down the stairs because there's no light way up there. So they try to use the hallway light to manage in the bedrooms and do whatever they have to do. And we have the bathroom.
Enjoy the video. Hit the like button.
Case, raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear and or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes,
I
sir.
do.
All right. This suit is filed against you, Miss Means. According to the petition, which is a sworn complaint, you, Mr. Henry, indicated that the defendant defaulted in the terms of her lease by not paying rent for the month of January. And at the time of filing, which was on January 22nd, you indicated that she owed back rent totaling $1,650. Now, with that being said, what's going to happen next is I'm going to give you, Mr. Henry, the opportunity to present the case against the defendant. It's going to be up to you to provide proof to me by preponderance of evidence that she did default in the terms of her lease and that you did everything you were legally supposed to do prior to the case getting to this point, meaning complied with the property code or any other statute that pertains to evictions in the state of Texas. Now, while you, Mr. Henry, is speaking, I'm going to ask that you, Ms. Means, do not interrupt him because I need to make sure I hear everything that Mr. Henry is stating without any interruptions. Okay, Ms. Means?
Yes, sir.
Once you're through, Mr. Henry, I will consider you to be at rest. And then afterwards, you, Miss Means, I will give you the opportunity to defend yourself. It's going to be up to you to provide proof to me that you should not be evicted based on the complaint of non-payment of rent. You did provide the court with some documentation. And before we go any further, this documentation that you provided to me, this is something that the plaintiff would have access to as well, such as text messages and so forth. Is that right?
Correct.
And so I'm going to give you the opportunity to explain to me why you should not be evicted. Um, and while you are speaking, I'm going to ask that you, Mr. Henry, do not interrupt her so that I can hear everything that she is stating. Okay, Mr. Henry?
Yes, sir.
All right. With that being said, Mr. Henry, you can proceed with the case against the defendant.
Yes, Your Honor. We are filing for eviction for non-payment of rent. We did not receive rent is due on the 1st. It is late after the 5th. We give another 5 days of grace period with $20 a day late fees, which is outlined in the lease. We did not receive rent for January. The tenant was notified that it wasn't received. We did not get response. The project manager, Chewy, Jesus Salazar, but he goes by the name Chewy, went by the property, did not get a response at the door because of previous, let me say, I guess, not altercation, but just uncomfortable situations with Miss Means' husband. We sent certified mail of 3-day notice to vacate, which is my obligation. Received confirmation that that certified was delivered. I sent an email and left a voicemail to Miss Means trying to confirm that she had received that and that she knew that she was being evicted. I did not get a response, so we filed well after that 3-day notice was received, and we have not received February rent either. So I plan to add that $1,650. $1,650 does not include any late fees because I know that I can't ask for late fees. So it is just $1,650 January rent and $1,650 for February rent is what is due at this time. And that is the reason we are filing the eviction.
Okay. Just looking through the documents that you filed with the court. Let's see here. There's a residential lease. Says here that the agreed upon monthly rent is $1,650. This lease was set to expire on August 31st, 2026. Like it was electronically signed by both parties. Okay. All right. Anything else before I move on to the defendant?
Pertaining to the non-payment of rent, no, sir.
Right. And so we're going to move on to you, Miss Means. Miss Means, here's your opportunity to defend yourself. Tell me why you feel like you should not be evicted based on the complaint of non-payment of rent.
Only reason why I say is because I sent him a message December 8th stating to him that the electric was not properly working in the house. So he told me once I made a payment, and I told him I was sick. So he said once I made a payment and once I the house was clear, he would come have somebody fix the lights, the electric. My upstairs kids' restroom and bedroom don't work. And then if I'm taking a shower in the bottom restroom, the light, I don't know if it's like the water heater or something, just too much power, it flickers off in the restroom and cuts off. I had to go outside, reset the breaker. So after that happened, my AC ended up going out. At the same time my electric go out, the AC goes out. So he comes fix the AC. He never said anything about the electric. So started the new year, he sent his project manager, we set up a date. He sent this project manager out here to see everything that's wrong with the house. I told the project manager, like, hey, he already know what's wrong with the house, but if this makes y'all safe and secure, then come by, come do the inspection. He did the inspection. My husband got up, talked to the maintenance man, telling him like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, I keep saying y'all gonna fix it, but y'all still haven't fixed it." He said, "Sure thing." He said, "We're gonna fix it. Only reason why the breaker box is the only reason why the electric is breaking because we have to have those in there for inspection. But once after they'll come inspect them, we'll help and switch out the breakers." So we said, okay. So I get a message from my neighbor stating that the landlord, well, the maintenance man or the landlord said that my husband cussed him out and that they were filing eviction. So I sent a video recording of my husband and the maintenance man talking in the hallway. I sent it to her. I said he wasn't cussing him out. He wasn't disrespectful. He just sounded like, hey, y'all walked in the house multiple times, not notifying anybody. And now this is the third time now, we're telling y'all about the lights and nothing's been solved. I gave a formal letter. He said he didn't want a text message, so I gave him an email. He said give him a couple of days. I gave him a couple of days for the AC. I heard nothing back. He emailed back with the response for him to do an inspection in the house. They came and did the inspection, and I never heard anything back. So
So
that's it. We just
this formal letter that you gave him, it's a formal demand for payment and notice of intent to file suit. What is this about?
okay. So the first this. I don't know what's going on with him. We really don't communicate besides like I said, something about the house. So it's just via message. So the very first time he had the maintenance man, Chewy. He comes to the house. I'll see on the camera the dude's checking the water. He took a picture of the car. He looked in the mailbox. He checked the mail. Well, as he proceeded, I'm getting up to put clothes on. I'm assuming it's Blake on the phone telling him to still come in the house after he let him know that somebody's here in the house. He still tell him to presume to unlock the door to come in the house. So I hear him come to the door and I'm like, hey, hey, I said, you can't come in. I'm naked. He's like, no, 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 no. This is the house. This is the house. This is the house. I'm like, no. I said, what are you talking about? I just moved in, sir. He's like, no, this is the house. My boss said I'm supposed to come in here. He's like, you moved out. I said, this is 2023 McKenzie. He's like, well, the paperwork says Alexander. I said, correct. It says Alexander. So why are you here? He was like, well, I don't know. My landlord sent me here. So I was like, okay. So the second time is because the rent wasn't paid. He said since I ain't paid the rent, he had to come put the formal notice on the inside of the door. My little boy comes running to the door. He said, Mom, somebody's opening the door. So I hear it, I tell him I'm getting dressed. Like, here I come, getting dressed. He's like, okay. I text him. I said, hey, can we please not do this no more? Don't do it. He's like, well, just pay your rent and we won't have these problems. And I already did the eviction, but I can call and stop the eviction if you pay the rent. I'm just like, sir, like you're doing all these things, breaking the Texas code property, but you're mad at me because I'm just telling what's right from wrong. Like I understand I haven't paid my rent, but I didn't pay my rent because my kids have no electric upstairs. There's no electricity upstairs. They can't take baths upstairs. They can't do nothing. And then when they come down the
Can I
stairs,
respond? Never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You'll get the opportunity to respond once she's through.
Yeah, I thought she was finishing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
She wasn't through, Mr. Henry. You know she wasn't through. Go ahead, Miss Means.
Yeah, so my kids, we're having to use flashlights to come down the stairs. One of my kids fell down the stairs because there's no light way up there. So they try to use the hallway light to manage in the bedrooms and do whatever they have to do. And we have the bathroom window up so we can have the sunlight come in during the daytime, and during nighttime, I just light a candle. Or I come out here 5 to 6 times and keep breaking the breaker on the breaker box to have the electricity work because it'll boot off the power. It'll reset the breaker. And I have a picture where the breakers kept resetting.
So, okay, so you sent him on December 15th, you sent him a letter letting him know that you're going to sue him because he violated all
No,
these.
even but no. So December, but before even December the 15th, so December the 8th, before it wasn't even before I even sent that formal letter, I let him acknowledge it, like, hey, it's a problem. I gave him a week. He never said nothing. He just said he'll come fix it, and that was the end of it.
So what you're saying is that you placed maintenance requests and they did not comply with the maintenance request. So then you sent him a formal letter letting him know that you're serious about the
Correct.
issues going on in this unit.
Yes, sir. Correct.
And in the month of January, you just chose not to pay your rent. Why is it that you chose not to pay your rent in this?
Because he only fixed partial of the problem. He only fixed the AC and never finished coming back to fix the electric after he sent somebody before the new starting pay period of rent to come again to look at the house and make sure whatever was supposedly wrong, they had it on black and white on pen and paper. They wanted to see for their eyes.
Mr. Henry, go ahead. You have the opportunity to respond.
Thank you. Um, the first incident was a mistake, and I apologized multiple times to Miss Means. She said it was okay. So we had a different eviction notice that was supposed to be for, and I text Chewy, our maintenance guy, to go post it at 22, 23, her unit. So he knocked, nobody answered. He opened the door to post it inside, which is our legal right and obligation if we don't send certified mail. And she was home. She was embarrassed. She called me. I said I gave him the wrong. It was 100% my fault. That was the first unfortunate incident. Post that, in December, she started complaining about the breakers. Now, I want to get this on record. This unit, this duplex was built brand new per Waco code, built brand new in 2020. So this is not an old house. These are not old units. They're 5 going on 6 years old. When you build this new, the city of Waco requires under 2018 electrical code that every breaker be GFCI. The issue is that those breakers, they trip. If you have multiple things, I have problems. I have 12 duplexes that were built in the same time, Your Honor. They all trip all the time. It's a constant issue. We are constantly swapping out breakers. So do I believe her that a bedroom light, if they've got stuff plugged in and they've got lights and fans going, that it's constantly tripping? Yes. However, it's a lot to keep up with. I could show you receipts of the amount of breakers. I have to put these expensive breakers in, and as soon as we pass an inspection, we go back and we change them with regular breakers because the code is dumb. I know you don't probably care about this, and she doesn't care, but that's why they're not tripping because there's faulty electrical. They're tripping because they're over surge protected, and so we go back and we change them. So do I believe that this has been an issue? Yes. We got through the holidays. I do biannual inspections on every property. Twice a year, we physically walk the property. She was given notice. Um, she acknowledged the time. We agreed on a time. Chewy went and did an inspection. Now, the rest of that, I know that I, I would not want my family to be without heat and air. So once we were notified, we got the heat and air fixed, and she said, yes, Blake, fix the heat and air. The electrical upstairs in one bedroom, this is what happens is she has lights flickering, then all of a sudden she's telling you that her kids can't take a bath. There's been no water heater issues. The issue isn't with the water heater, it's with the lights in one bedroom upstairs. That's it. And to my knowledge, that's not justification for not paying rent. I have a lot of units. We've been doing a lot of inspections and we've been trying to make repairs. The issue, again, my duty as landlord is to provide a safe, clean heat and air, all those things, and I have done those things. The electrical in one bedroom where the breaker trips is that's not at the highest of my priority list when I have all these other things. Again, once we do our biannual inspections, we immediately start doing any repairs that we're made aware of, and changing out one breaker is not at the top of that list. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I wasn't aware. I was aware, but it has not been done yet, and I think, I mean, I don't know that. I'm not aware of anywhere where that says that you can not pay your rent based on one breaker in one bedroom that does work. It just has to be physically turned back on because it trips when there's multiple things being plugged in that room as well.
And when you say breaker, are you talking about the actual just GFCI outlet that when you're replacing, or just the
No,
actual
sir. See, no,
breaker?
sir. It's the actual breaker on the box, which each unit has their own. She doesn't have to, that little breaker trips and you got to go back and flip it back over because they are overprotected per the 2018 electrical code. Again, I have this issue in all these new duplexes that I built. And yeah, again, I don't, I knew that this would get brought up because she's made it aware, but now the whole thing she sent me, I got an email. I have not received a letter. I have not received anything. It looked like something that she came up with online. It did not look legit like it was from a court. But to be honest with you, when I receive a $14,000 or $17,000 threat to sue based on one breaker, yes, sorry, she's not going at the top of the list. That's wild and crazy, and it's bogus. Like the threat that I somehow caused her tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage is crazy. And so I have just tried to leave her alone, except for the inspections, which again we do twice a year. She was compliant. To my knowledge, everything on that inspection was taken care of, minus the breaker that we have to swap out. If Miss Means wants to correct me on anything, but now there were things that are damages on her end that we have taken note of that she'll be responsible, or will come out of her deposit when she moves out. But as far as I know, everything that came up on her inspection from the middle of January has been taken care of, minus that breaker. Miss Means, is that correct?
No, sir, that is not correct.
So again, we're not gonna go back and forth. Yeah, I'm going to be the one that's going to be introducing questions, and this is just to make sure we reduce any type of confrontations. So, just to make sure I'm correct, you, as a landlord, what you're telling me is that you did everything what you were legally supposed to do. You made sure that she has adequate heat, adequate water, running water, adequate sewer, and the issue that we're referencing in regards to this breaker is because of the GFCIs causing the breaker to go out, and you have to go through and pretty much replace the breaker with a higher amp breaker to keep it from, I don't know, you got to do something. Electricians do all the good work, but you have to remedy it based on a ordinance that was passed years ago, or rule. Okay, I get it. All right, so going back to you, Ms. Means, you stated you didn't pay your rent for January because he did not.
Finish complying with the end of December. He finished the air in December. He did. I assume after he did the inspection, they were gonna come back to fix. So I said I gave him grace period enough time. I wasn't gonna harass him. I wasn't gonna do any of that. I gave him enough time. And like I say, my kids can't take a bath upstairs. It's no electric in the restroom. It's no electric in the top room. And like I said, when I take a bath down here, the light cuts off, and I have pictures of the breakers where it's 3 breakers that switched off. It's more than just a bedroom. I mean, I don't understand how my kids are supposed to take a shower in the dark. They're scared of the dark already. So I'm forcing kids to take a shower. If I bring them down here, the light's just gonna blow out here, so they're in the dark down here. So it's it- I mean, it's no winning situation. I mean, we just taking baths with candles at this point.
I, I hear you. Okay, so here's this is where getting legal advice before initiating your own um, actions comes into play. So this is what the law and the property code states about repair and remedy. And that's what the situation that you're in right now. This is a repair and remedy situation. So, as a landlord and tenant agreement goes, the landlord is required to do certain things and the tenant is required to do certain things. Whenever it pertains to maintenance request, the tenant is required to put the maintenance request in writing or whatever method the landlord and tenant agree upon. So that is the first step. The landlord has to provide immediate repairs to certain things. That is heat, hot water, sewer, and make sure that it's structurally sound. Those are some immediate things that the landlord has to they got to get it done like ASAP. Other maintenance requests, you have to give the landlord the opportunity to fix the issue. Now, here's the thing. If the landlord does not comply with his or her end of the lease, there's always a clause in that lease that says, hey, look, tenant can say, you know what? I want out the lease. You're not doing what you're supposed to do as a landlord. I want to break this lease. The tenant has that right in almost every lease, especially if it's a TAA lease. Tenant can say, you know what? You ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. I'm paying my rent. I submitted the request. I want out. I'm giving you 30 days, letting you know I am canceling this lease. The other thing that the tenant can do is write the landlord a formal letter like you did here, but not a demand saying that you're suing them. It's a demand letting them know that, look, I placed this maintenance request on this day. You have not complied with your end of the lease. If you don't fix the issue within a certain time frame, I am going to do one of two things. One, I am going to remedy it myself, meaning that you can call a licensed electrician and have that licensed electrician come over to the house and fix it. And if that licensed electrician charges you $800, you deduct that $800 from the next month's rent. So instead of your rent being $1,650 for January, it would have been $850, and you would have given him a receipt. Why? Because you took the legal steps. I notified you for a maintenance request. I sent you a formal letter. You didn't comply. I'm taking it upon myself to fix it. That's one thing you can do. The second thing you can do, if the electrician comes out and says, hey, this is going to be a $5,000 bill, you're like, I can't afford that. Then you can file a petition in the justice court, in any justice court in the county. And in that petition, you are stating that the landlord failed to comply with his end of the lease by not fixing the issues at hand, and you are filing a repair and remedy case against him. At that time, you come to court and you provide proof to the judge that you gave him notice of the maintenance issue. You sent him a formal letter. He still didn't comply, and you need for the judge to help you out. At that time, the judge must consider the evidence at hand, and if you prove your case by a preponderance of evidence that the landlord failed to comply with his end of the lease, then the judge will order the landlord or management company to fix it. And if they don't fix it within a certain time frame, they can be held in contempt, meaning that the judge can put them in jail until it gets fixed. So that person can rot in jail until they hire a technician to get over there and pay that $5,000 in necessary repairs. You didn't do that. You took it on your own to say, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to research the property code. I'm going to file suit against him, and I'm not going to pay my rent. You
But
went about it.
I sent him formal notices, multiple notices.
Did
That
you Did you do what I just said?
No, sir.
And you're not the only one, young lady. A lot of people do that. A lot of people take matters into their own hands instead of really just getting legal help. Call Lone Star Legal Aid. Call Greater Waco Legal Services.
I did. I'm on the. They actually called me today.
And if you would have waited and paid your rent like you were supposed to do, and if you would have waited to continue paying your rent, he would have had to fix it. You wouldn't be here today because the complaint is for non-payment of rent. This means I have to rule in favor for the plaintiff because you didn't do what you were legally supposed to do and he did. What does that mean, Miss Means? That means that there's going to be a judgment against you for the non-payment of rent for the month of January. I'm not going to award February's rent and I'll maybe go into detail on that. But January's rent was $1,650. There's going to be a judgment against you for that amount plus the court cost that was paid. Now, you have the right to appeal the court's decision. Appealing the court's decision means you disagree with my decision and you want your case heard by another judge in a higher court. In order for you to appeal this decision, you would have to post an appeals bond of $3,300. Now, if you cannot afford that appeals bond, Lone Star Legal Aid can help you appeal your case. But if you do appeal it and get help from Lone Star Legal Aid, you have to pay rent for what month? February. And that's why I'm not awarding February's rent, because it's the beginning of the month and you have the right to appeal. But if you do choose to appeal, you cannot stay rent free. And that rent that you pay for February, if you appeal it, will eventually go to Mr. Henry. And then y'all can do this all over again at the county court of law if you choose to do so. But here's the thing. You got so many days to appeal. You got 6 days from today's date to appeal. If you do not appeal within the next 6 days, Mr. Henry can take the next legal actions against you, which is the filing of a writ of possession. Again, if you don't appeal within 6 days and if you are still staying there, Mr. Henry will take the next legal actions. And that means the constable will serve you with a 24-hour notice to move out. If you do not move out within that time frame, they will be back over there to act as security, and then Mr. Henry and his crew will be able to peacefully and safely remove all of your personal belongings from inside of the home and place them outside of the home. Okay?
Okay.
All right. With that being said, judgment faith for the plaintiff.